Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at all of my gouache and filling up my Art Toolkit Folio Palette. So, how are you all? I may or may not have this video out on my usual Sunday release date. It's been a bit of a week here this week. My parents are on holiday and we are looking after their puppy, and I have got two old dogs, and so putting a puppy in the mix of two old dogs has been quite a challenge. And I have already recorded a video for this week. I recorded a video using my Jackson's handmade soft pastels, but you know when something just does not feel like you. I swatched all the pastels out, I made some artwork with them, and I'll show you the artwork actually. If you're new here, my name is Amber and I am a mixed media artist, always experimenting with new mediums and, well, the mediums that I have as well. And I just love to create pages in my sketchbook and create art all of the time pretty much. But I'll show you this soft pastel painting. And today's video is going to be a little bit more chill. I've not really got a structure or anything. I just know that I wanted to sit down today and fill this palette up and have a look at all of my gouache and just have a relaxing chill day. All the dogs seem to have just laid down and given me a break for a minute, so I thought I'll quickly jump on here and record this video. So it's Friday, I'm recording, and this is going to come out on Sunday, so hopefully I can get it out on Sunday, but if not, then you know what happened. So yeah, I had a go with my soft pastels, and I gotta say, I don't really enjoy working on anything other than my sketchbooks at the moment. So working on this loose bit of paper, I don't know what it is. It's like I feel like it's for nothing, if that makes sense. Like I just love working in my sketchbook so much at the moment that any sort of loose bits of paper that I paint or draw on just gets put away in a box and I never really look at it again. So I don't know, I love my sketchbook. So I did this little landscape painting, which I do actually quite like, but there's just something about it. It just doesn't feel very me. I did it with the Jackson soft pastels and the and Neo Colour 2s as well. But now that I look at it again, I do quite like it actually. But yeah, just the entire video was just so long. It's like getting on for 2 hours long, and I don't even know how I was going to edit it. And most of it was just full of swatching, and I just thought I don't like this video, so I'm not even going to bother. And at the moment I am absolutely obsessed with gouache again. So you know me and how I go through multiple phases with my art. All of a sudden it's all about gouache for me again, and I'm just super excited about it. And I bought, or I didn't buy, I got for Christmas the Art Toolkit Folio Palette. I'm just packing this away again quick. See, that'll go in there and I won't look at that again probably for a long time. So yeah, for Christmas I got this Art Toolkit Folio Palette, and I'd seen these around, people using them on YouTube, and I'd seen them on Instagram, and I just thought they look amazing. These are like little extra pans, but I ripped the bag open like an idiot and they just keep falling out, so I'll put them to the side for now. So my husband bought this for me for Christmas from Rosemary and Co. I think that's where you get these palettes from in the UK. And it just came so lovely packed. It was like taped on cardboard, and it had little chocolates on it, and it's just lovely. So I'll show you. I'll take this away. It's in a little Rosemary and Co. bag. And if you haven't seen these, then I shall show you how amazing this palette is. So you can fit, this palette I think is the 24, oh, ripped. Nope, haven't ripped. Can't get it out of the bag, which would be helpful. Okay. So this palette has got 21 little metal wells where you can fill them up with colour. I thought it had 24, but I was wrong. It's 21, but that's why I got these little extras, so I could perhaps take these bigger ones out and fill a few more colours in here. So you get all different little pans in here, different sizes, and the great thing about it is it's all metal, so underneath it's all metal, so you can move them all about and really customize this palette, which I just think is like so much fun. And the top bit on here is a mixing palette, and then these are mixing palettes as well. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to set all this up yet. I thought I might have a look at the colours that I've got and then decide a bit at which colours that I actually want to include. But they do these in all different sizes as well. They've got like really tiny little travel ones, and then they've got, I think this is like the biggest size, but when you think like this is the biggest size, just get my ruler. This is only 5.2 inches by about 3.2 inches. So it's so tiny, it's so compact and so slim. I just think it's just lovely. It's so like sleek, you know. So if you was like making a travel palette, you could fill all of these wells up, have lots of lovely colours, and it would take up so little space in your bag. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do today, is fill this up. This is my original little dried gouache palette, which I filled up at the beginning of last year, and I have used it to death. This is like, I've refilled these multiple times. This is with the little CMYK palette that I just absolutely love. These are literally my ideal colours. I can mix anything I want, apart from like a really bright orangey red out of this, but I don't use that colour often anyways. But yeah, these colours are just amazing. I'll talk you through these colours a little bit more as I put them in this palette, I think. So I'll definitely put these in there. So this is the Portable Painter Micro, and really I could do with a nice fresh yellow in there, but this is the one that I just use all the time, and I can mix so many amazing colours. This is like an example. I was playing with them yesterday, minus this aqua blue colour, because that's not in there, but like look at all the greens, the earthy green tones and the blues that you can mix with just these colours. It's amazing. So that's my little portable painter, and I'll still use this, definitely. I could probably put it in my little travel pack, but I'd like this palette here to be a little bit more of a in-studio palette, but like... Joni, will you leave those oldies alone? Leave them alone. My two old dogs are... I feel so sorry for them, to be honest. I think they won't be able to wait for Joni to go home. Only a few more days left. Joni doesn't quite understand that they don't like her, so she just wants to play, you know. I'm not used to having puppies around. I've just had these two oldies for a while now. So yeah, what was I even saying? Yeah, I'd like for this to be like a studio palette for me. So I have a nice, I don't know, like a nice sized desk, but because I do a lot of mixed media, by the time I'm finished painting or drawing, I have a desk absolutely full of art supplies, and I can barely move on here. So I thought if I could have a little tiny gouache palette, that would be perfect, rather than like having my big palette, my big like porcelain palette, and then having all different colours out everywhere. It just, or like even to have a bigger gouache palette, I just like that this is nice and small and it won't take up much space. Another reason that I wanted to fill this with all of these gouache colours is because I only tend to use those 6 colours that are in this palette. So white, lemon yellow, what other one? It's helio turquoise, permanent yellow deep, quinacridone magenta, and and cobalt turquoise light. Those are the colours that I use just all the time, and I barely use any of my other colours. And I thought if I just sort them all out and maybe put some of all of these gouache into this palette, then I'll actually use my colours up and they won't just go and get crusty and dry in the tube, because that would be a great shame. So I've only had Winsor & Newton in the past, and then I tried some of the Schminky, which I have loved, only the two colours, lemon yellow and helio turquoise. And then a few weeks ago I tried the Shinhan gouache. So I got a few colours of the Shinhan gouache, which is just, they're beautiful colours. They really stand out, especially this moss green and the opera, and all of them really. I love them. And my original plan was to buy a big set of the Shinhan gouache. You can buy them in like 2 different sets of 24 colours, I think. And my original plan was to buy one of those sets and then fill this palette up with that set. And then I thought, why would I do that when I've already got all of these lovely Winsor & Newton colours? That would be an absolute waste of money and also a waste of paint, because if I don't use these, then eventually I think they will just go all crusty and hard in the tubes. Because I heard the other day that gouache can get a little bit, gouache can like go off quicker than other paints. So I don't want that to happen. So I've decided to not buy any more gouache and to just use what I've got. But saying that, if you watched my art haul a few videos ago, you might notice that I've got a couple extra colours from what I had then from my art haul. So I did make an order on Jackson's. My order was for, which I'm only showing you a little sneak today, I'm going to make a whole video on this, but when I saw that Holbein was releasing the Luminous set of 12 colours, watercolour set, I just jumped straight on that because they had a really good sale on and I was so excited. I also got some of their granulating colours, because if you know me, I'm obsessed with granulating colours, but I haven't even touched those yet because I want to make their own video. So that might be the next one, might be the video after, I'll see. But yeah, I also thought that I would like to add a couple more colours to my Shinhan gouache collection. So this is it now, I won't be buying any more. Brilliant Pink, Lilac and Sepia. So there was a few colours that I just really fancied trying. I really wanted a nice dark brown, and this is lovely. Really lovely brown, actually. So what else do I want to say? The only colour that I notice I don't really have here is like a bright orange, which I would quite like to include a bright orange in my set. And I was thinking like, oh, could I just take a trip to Hobbycraft and buy a bright orange? And then I thought, no, I can mix a bright orange and mix some colours to put in here as well if I want. So there we go. I'm trying like to combat my want to go out and buy everything attitude, because it's ridiculous. So I am going to put all of these over here for now, and I've actually made, before I started recording, a little dot swatch card in this sketchbook, because I wanted to swatch them all out and see which colours I've actually got, and maybe if some similar I might not want to include them in the palette. But I didn't want the entire video to be like dominated by swatches, so I'm gonna swatch these out now a bit quick, and then we can have a look at them and decide which colours we might like to include, which I think it'll be near enough all of them. So we've got Lemon Yellow by Schminky Horodam, or Schminker Horodam. I think my brush has got a little bit of green on it from yesterday. My poor yellows, always tinted with green. Then we've got Winsor & Newton, Primary Yellow. I was a little bit stingy with my dots on some of these. So that is a nice, cool, really like a really cool yellow. And this is a little bit warmer yellow. So maybe I will include both of those. The Schminky Lemon Yellow is the one that I've got in the Portable Painter palette. Then we've got Winsor & Newton Permanent Yellow Deep, which is a lovely, I wouldn't even call it a dark yellow, I'd call it a light orange colour. Next up we have Winsor & Newton Pale Rose Blush. That's a nice light, really light skin tone colour probably. Almost like, because I was thinking the one colour that I don't have that I absolutely love with my watercolours and I use it all the time is Buff Titanium, but that could almost be like a Buff Titanium alternative for me. This one is a Shinhan, this is Jaune or Jaune. I feel like the correct way of saying it is Jaune, but I'm probably wrong. Jaune Brilliant. So there was two colours I wasn't 100% on in my art haul. I like them all, but that I wasn't entirely sure how I would use them is the Jaune Brilliant and then also the Blue Violet, but I'll show you in a sec. Next we've got Winsor & Newton Spectrum Red, which is a lovely, lovely warm red colour. Next up is the Cool Red in the Winsor & Newton set. So I think I got that mix-in set, or was it? Can't remember. Must have been the set of 12 Winsor & Newton colours that I got a few years ago now. This is almost like a pink magenta-y colour, the primary red. Next up is the Quinacridone Magenta, which I actually wasn't so stingy with that colour, so I'm just going to wipe a bit off of there. Next up is the Shinhan Opera. So this one is so exciting for me. In my watercolours, the colour I use the most is my Opera Pink by Daniel Smith. I use it all the time. Next is Shinhan Brilliant Pink, which is a beautiful baby, almost dusky pink colour. So far, these are lovely. I actually thought the Pale Rose Blush and the Jaune Brilliant was going to be really similar by looking at the tubes. I didn't realise that I had this when I bought this, but they're different, so I'm happy about that. We'll just bring my other water. We've got Shinhan Lilac. Beautiful. How exciting is that colour? I'm so surprised at how many artists don't like working with purple. I love purple. My favourite. Although, now that I'm saying that, I love purple and it's like one of my favourite colours, but green. I love green so much. I use it all the time. And green and orange at the moment, funny enough. But I do love purple. So this one is the Shinhan Aqua Blue. Next up, Winsor & Newton Primary Blue. Feels kind of like a cobalt blue. Next is Winsor & Newton Ultramarine. I didn't think I'd like the primary blue very much actually, but I really like it. It's nice. I'd like to experiment with some more primary palettes. So maybe the Winsor & Newton Primary Yellow, Primary Red and Primary Blue would be nice. I mean, I guess that's what they're for. This one is Shinhan Blue Violet. Tell you something I've noticed about the Shinhan gouache in comparison to my Winsor & Newton, because that's the only real other gouache I've tried other than the Schminky, but like I said, I've only had a couple of colours of that. A little tiny bit goes a very, very long way on the Shinhan, so that blue violet just explodes with colour as soon as you put any water on it, so that's really nice. Next is Shinhan Indigo. Yeah, like the dot is still there, loads, the little dot swatch that I put down, and the colour is just lovely. So far, I don't really want to eliminate any of these colours from my palette. This one is the Helio Turquoise by Schminky. So this is my favourite kind of blue that I've been using in my little primary palette. So way cooler than your usual primary blue, which is like this one. Next is a colour I haven't ever even swatched before. So Winsor & Newton Turquoise Blue. I feel like the Shinhan is easier to reactivate once it's dry than the other colours. This is a lovely colour. It's very, very creamy and opaque. Next is the Cobalt Turquoise Light, which is the other lighter blue that I've got in my little portable painter palette. Do you know what? I've got to give you some examples of just some little paintings with just what I use those colours with. I'm getting off track a little bit, but I've just got to show you. Because I was just so amazed at how much you can do with just a few colours. So this isn't really like much, but this one I did just with that palette. This one I did just with that palette. So like, you can create beautiful purples. This is mixed media, of course, but the gouache on the bottom is the gouache is it's gouache. The lovely oranges, and you can do like nice reds. So you can create a nice red when you mix the quinacridone magenta with a touch of the lemon yellow. It makes like more of a primary red like this, but obviously it's not as like proper red as that, but you can, you know, you can nearly get there. I've actually got a video on here which I'll link in the cards where I swatch these colours and make like an entire chart showing you every colour you can get with them. I did this with this palette, so you can make lovely like green tones, browns, dark colours. I did these with that palette, so the purples you can get are amazing, really rich and dark, all different greens. That one was Inktense. Is this it for now of using it? Oh, was that Inktense? Yeah. Yeah, well, I did use it loads more in here, I think. Yeah, I used it for this. I used it for this. For these as well. Yeah, just pretty much, you can pretty much make every colour. I did it for this, my first plein air painting that I did in Margate last year. So you can make like light sandy yellow colours. It just goes to show that, especially if you're beginning with gouache, you don't need many colours at all. You literally you can get by with just 3 colours and a white, pretty much. I'll show you something I did yesterday too. So this is a new sketchbook that I have started it's not just to, because obviously the challenge won't fill it all up, but I'm joining in with Katie Moody's 30 Days of Sketchbook Joy challenge on Instagram, and this so far I've only done 2 so far. So today's prompt is houseplant, and I haven't done it yet. But I had so much fun playing with my gouache and just mixed media yesterday for this one, the Pop of Orange prompt. But yeah, Katie's challenge is 30 days of sketchbook joy if you want to join in. And it's in anticipation of her new book coming out in March. So that is so exciting. And I used all my gouache for this and then put mixed media on. I used my gouache for this. So look at all those greens you can create just from those, well, those 3 colours, and then I also use that. So I'm going to say 6 colours. 6 colours is such a great set. So I'm excited about this and excited about starting another new sketchbook as well. I haven't even finished Burbfest yet. And also I haven't even finished this sketchbook yet, which I keep saying I'm going to finish, but I just haven't yet. But anyway, back to the swatching. Oh, this is nice. Just some relaxed time with you guys. I'm sorry I always go off track and like ramble and just talk about everything else but what the video is actually about in my videos. I don't really mean to. I just it's just the way I roll, I guess. So I love green. I absolutely love green. I love using it, but this is not a good green for me. I don't like it at all. I can't see how I could ever use this green, to be honest with you. It just, you know, it just doesn't feel like me. This green, on the other hand, and like you don't see this green in nature. I think that's what it is. You don't see this one in nature, whereas this one, Shinhan Moss Green, is just absolutely beautiful. So this is a green I can get behind and like one of my favourite ever colours. This one not so much, but I'm going to tell you in a minute what I'm going to do with this green. So we've got Winsor & Newton Yellow Ochre. Winsor & Newton Burnt Sienna, which I was a bit stingy on the swatch. And then finally, Shinhan Sepia. And I expected this to be very like that. I've had to wipe a bit off my brush because it's just so thick. What a beautiful brown. I expected it to be like a really dark, like way darker than this, because sepia with my like colour pencils is really dark. But this is like the perfect brown. It's just what I wanted. So I can't see myself using this one. So this is probably like the only one that I don't want to include in my Art Toolkit palette. This Winsor & Newton Permanent Green Middle is what it is. So I had a little go at mixing a darker version of this with this. So I mixed the Permanent Green Middle with a touch of Yellow Ochre and then the Shinhan Sepia. And this is the colour that I come up with, but I haven't properly swatched it yet. So let's have a look. I was going for something like a chromium oxide type green. And you know what? I think that's come out pretty darn good. Perfect. So that's a much nicer green for me than that. And then the only other colours that I would quite like to include in my set. So I think here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There's 24 colours here, and obviously I'm going to include a white as well. So 25 colours, and I've only got 21 little wells at the moment. So even though I wanted to use these bigger ones, I'm going to take them out and I'm going to swap them, or at least swap 2 of them for these ones. So how many does that give me? Would help if I had it on in the camera. Do you know what I'm thinking? I might I love how you can customize this like this. Oh, whoops. A little bit fiddly for me. I might take this out and include 2 big ones. Do I want that? Or 1 big one? And these last 2? Because I want to make my own colours and put them in as well. I've got 3 colours that I want to mix and put in here as well that I know that I'll use all the time. So I'm going to try and recreate some of my favourite luminance colours with gouache. So if I use this one for white, I could put, I usually like to use a bit of fresh white when I am, this is the thing now, like I've got all these colours and I'm not sure where I want to put them. So I'm probably going to like decide on all of this off of camera in a moment, because this could be a long video otherwise. And then maybe I'll come back and show you afterwards. But yeah, a little bit of a difficult decision. I think it's a shame to get rid of a mix-in well, because I think I'll use them, but then we'll have got this great big one here, right? I think that looks pretty good. So because I like to use my white fresh usually, I might put a little bit in and keep like a little bit so I can put fresh in if I need to. Okay. I'm going to stick this over here for a minute while I show you the other colours that I want to make. So I have got 2 luminance coloured pencils that are my absolute favourite, and that is the Anthraquinoid pink colour, 571, and then this one, which is Middle Verdigris. Middle Verdigris, but it's like a really light, almost like a sagey green colour, and these colours I love them, I use them. This one's still quite new, but like I've just discovered how much I love this, and so I've been using it a bit recently, and this I've had like 3 or 4 of these because I just use it all the time. So I would like to make some versions of these to put in my palette, as well as a really bright orange. And I know what will make the bright orange, obviously. Well, what will make it better? Let's have a look. Move this out the way. And I shall bring the experimenting station here. So this is where I mixed up that green, which I won't let that go to waste. I'll use this palette still when I'm painting next. This is one of those tear off palettes. But right, lemon yellow. Do I want to try and mix? No, because I haven't got much of that one left, and I want to make sure. I love that. So I'm going to try primary yellow and primary red. Ooh. To mix a nice orange and see how that goes. Spectrum red might work better, but we'll see. I do find that I want to reach for a lot of my gouache colours and never do, because they're always obviously in their little box that I keep them in, but I never ever hardly reach for something if I've got to sort of squirt it out and use it. I like to have everything in palettes ready to go, because then, like, I don't know, it's like there's no barrier to entry. Do you know what I mean? I've got loads of acrylic paint which I just don't use very often because I can never be bothered to get them and sort through my colours and squirt them all out. If I could have those in a dried palette, that would be lovely, but I don't think
I was going to say, like, am I lazy? But I like stuff that I can just easily reach for, you know? Yeah, so I'd say this is like the orange that I want to go for, to be honest. I could probably put a little tiny bit more yellow in there. That's great. We'll leave that one there like that. So the other colour then, what have I just done with them pencils? Put them back. They're silly. Okay, so I googled how to make like a nice coral pink colour, and it said white. So I used this. I got this great big Pebeo Studio Gouache permanent white, and I just feel so rich. It's so much here, you know, delicious. So I don't know how much white. Always make a bit of a mess with it, that's for sure. And then a warm red, it said. So I used the Spectrum Red, which I've definitely just used too much of. I'll definitely keep this palette and use it, because otherwise that would be silly to waste. And then it said to use a touch of yellow or a touch of orange. So no, I don't know if I should have done that. This is a nice colour though, but it wants to be a little bit lighter to match my favourite colour pencil, but I like that. Should I use a bit of this permanent yellow deep? I feel like this would create what I want, but if it goes wrong I can try a different. Okay, so I feel like this is the colour, but it needs to be lighter. I'm going to put a bit of white up here. So I've got this great big tube of white, and I'm still scared of wasting it. There we go. Not far off at all. Shall I zoom in so you can see? I have a terrible habit at the minute of zooming in and then forgetting to zoom back out again, so then I've like missed the whole video. It's what I did in that video I was supposed to make this week, my Jackson soft pastel one. I just like wasted the entire video, zoomed in too fast, you couldn't even see anything. Oh well, this has been nice today anyways. So yeah, perfect. Well, not perfect, but perfect enough. So I'll wipe this off. And the next colour I want to make, I'm a little bit unsure of how to make it. So we're going to want white. What shall I start off with, I wonder? So looking at this, I think a touch of moss green. So I don't know really what I'm doing here. I love mixing colours and trying out different colours and stuff. But yeah, like I love colour theory as well. So that is really fun for me. But like, this is all just experimenting. I don't really know whether these colours are going to work together or what. Also, I'm just going to point out to you, in case you noticed and you think I didn't notice, magenta. My brain is not working today. I might feel like that was funny, and maybe someone will point it out. I don't know, but I couldn't spell. I couldn't spell half of those names today, even though they're right in front of me. Puppies, man. Can't actually believe what it's like to have a puppy again. It's crazy. Had to like hide all of our slippers.
So delicious. Look at this. Yeah, I'm so proud of myself. Just made the perfect colour. It's not actually exact to this. It's a little touch more green, but this is what I want. Beautiful. Okay, so, okay. I'm happy. What did I use for that again? A little touch of cobalt turquoise light, a little touch of moss green, and plenty of white. Perfect. Oh, look, I can't believe it. I didn't even have it on screen. See what I mean? Sorry, guys. Oh, there it is. There's the colour that I was going for. Little touch more green than this, perhaps. This is a tiny bit more muted. But I like that, I think, and that is what I would like to have in my palette. So, I can't believe I just said that and then I continued to do that off screen. Lol. So when making a dried gouache palette, apparently, and I know this from this one, but your gouache can crack when it dries. And I, on that Art Toolkit website, and also I watched a YouTube video where I can't remember the. I just watched like loads of these videos this morning, and now it's all jumbled, so I don't know who made what video. But somebody used glycerin, and the website says as well to use a drop of glycerin in your gouache and sort of put it in the palette before and mix it in, I think, and that it would prevent them from cracking. But I don't think I'm going to do that. Partly because the woman who did it in her video, hers still cracked anyway, so I might not bother doing that, because mainly because that's going to add like more time to this, and I'm excited to just get it going, you know. So what I'm going to do now, this is going to take literally 1 second for you, but for me, what I'm going to do is have a little look at this and think about where I want to put my colours, have a little plan, a little planner-rooney, and organise and see what I can do, you know, and see how I can make my perfect palette. So I shall see you in 1 moment. Okay, so I've probably spent way too long trying to decide which colours I want to use in here, and I think I've narrowed it down. So, well, actually, I'm going to use them all probably. The only one I won't be using in its proper form is the permanent green middle. And so yeah, I've like had a proper rearrange in here, and I thought actually I made that nice pink colour, the coral pink colour, but I might try and make it a little bit more yellowy, because it's very, very similar on the swatch to the Shinhan Brilliant Pink. Let's get it here and see if I can. Do you see what I mean? It's like a little bit darker, this one, but this is quite similar, so I might add a little bit more yellow to it when I mix it up and try and make it a bit more orangey. What else was I gonna say before I start filling these pans up? Oh, so I think I made this so now I've had to get rid of this to fit the colours that I want in here, but that makes it so I can fit 29 colours in. And I've got to be honest, I don't know if this is completely overkill, having a palette with all of these colours in like this. I do really like to use a limited palette usually, so I feel like I don't even know if this is the right thing, what I'm doing here, but I've got this nice big palette, and I want to experiment with my colours more and use different colours that I wouldn't usually use, and experiment with loads more different colour palettes and stuff. And the only way that I'm going to actually use the colours that I've got is if they're all laid out in front of me. So I've just talked myself around that problem, because this is the right decision. Otherwise I wouldn't have wanted to do it in the first place, I don't think. So yeah, this is a way for me to use all my colours. I'm deciding whether to get rid of the turquoise blue just for now until I've used all of this one up, perhaps, because they're very similar. It's a little bit more opaque, this one, and a little bit more lighter, and this is a bit more transparent and just a little bit darker, obviously. So I don't know whether I need both of those, but then I do like that they're a little bit different. So they're similar, but there is a difference. So I'm just not sure. I'm just not like, it's a hard decision, you know, but you can always change it around. That's what I love about this palette is I could just go for it and always change it around, really. I haven't got to like be so hung up about this. Also, I wasn't sure whether to put my I like this. I actually like the Winsor & Newton primary red more than I like the magenta, and I feel like that would make things so much brighter if I use that as my primary colour rather than the magenta. So I think I'll put the magenta in a small pan, and these small pans are so tiny. They're really small. They're way smaller than a normal half pan, I will say that. So I wanted to put the colours in there that I won't use quite as often, you know. But I'll never probably use any of these colours in their natural form. I always mix my colours with something. I tend to not very often use colours in their like natural form at all. There's something like flat about it to me. I know they're already mixed. A lot of them are already mixed in the tubes, but I tend to mix them with something, even if it's just a little tiny bit. So I think I'm just going to get started filling, you know, because I can always sort out the order of things, I think, afterwards. I know which colours I want to be in small pans, and I know which colours I want to be in bigger pans. So I think I'll just get started. So I thought of another colour that I'd quite like to add in here, and that is a really dark purple. That purple that I showed you in my sketchbook that I made from the quinacridone magenta and the helio turquoise. I want to make a purple out of them as well. So after just taking another moment just then to work this out, that will take me to this pan, and these two will be empty. So it's a shame, really. Can I get rid of another colour so then I can put this one back in? Because I quite like the idea of having the nice big mixing palette, and then I won't have two pans that are empty, you know. Ah, I should have had all this planned out before I started this video, shouldn't I? But it's not the case, you know. Okay, no, we're just going to have the two empty pans. That's fine. And then in the future, once I've used this palette for a bit, if I notice that there's colours that I'm just not reaching for and I'm not using at all, then I will eliminate those and put this palette back in there. So for now, I need to keep this safe somewhere. So I'll probably put it back in here for now. And I'm going to start filling. So as I said, I'm not going to do the glycerin. I'm just gonna go for it and put the colours straight in the pans, and if they crack, then they crack, I guess. Doesn't like I said, I will take this about with me, I think, if I'd go and do some plein air painting, maybe, but most of the time it's just going to be staying in the studio with me, so if they crack, it doesn't really matter. And the white that I'm going to use is this one. So I've got my Winsor & Newton permanent white. I could use my big Studio Gouache Pebeo one, but I know that I do really like this, and I haven't used the Pebeo one enough to know whether it like reactivates nicely or not. So, and I said I do like to use a bit of fresh white, so I'm not going to fill the entire pan up. I don't want it to be I don't want it to be the entire pan, you know, just stick it in the corner there. Then I've got some dried white gouache if I want it, and also I can put some fresh white gouache in as well. I saw somebody else do this in their YouTube video and I thought it was really good. So they recommend to use a toothpick to disperse your colours evenly. So that's my first one. I think a lot of people get the pans out before they fill them up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it in here and hope for the best. So you might also think that I don't need two yellows. They're very, very similar, but I'm going to put them both in because I do need two yellows. In fact, if I could have a palette full of just yellow, the same yellow, I would, because I use so much of it and it gets so muddy so quickly. I'm not a neat and tidy gouache user. In fact, my yellows get completely saturated with greens all the time, so having two yellows is a good idea. Okay, so primary yellow. I don't think I'll talk through this entire thing because it could get a bit long and a bit boring, so I'll probably put this on a time lapse and then I'll talk to you at the end, and then I shall be gone for the day. For puppy playtime, I guess. So you can see that that is a little bit warmer, so that is quite nice to have, like one a little bit cooler and one a little bit warmer. Okay, so I'll put this on a time lapse. I think that would be best. Okay, so I filled my palette now with all of the colours that I have in my tubes. The only one that I didn't use is the permanent green middle because that is not a nice green for me, as I've said a million times. So now what I'm going to do is mix up some colours. I'm going to mix them straight in the pan and see how that goes, and hopefully I don't make a giant mess. But there's just a couple of things that I wanted to say before I start doing that. I do like actually how I've put all the colours in here in the order. I'll see, I can always change it in the future, but I think I'm happy with it so far. The only thing that worries me is how close these blues are to my yellows. I perhaps could have thought that through a little bit better, because, you know, the contamination, so it could contaminate both of those yellows now very, very easily. So I didn't think about that, but I'll just have to be careful, won't I? The other thing is my primary red colour. Can you see how bitty that looks in the pan? It's like all thick and clumpy, and I don't really know a lot about the ins and outs of gouache at all, but I know that it probably shouldn't look like that. So this is like another reason why I think that I've definitely done the right thing by filling this palette with all of the colours that I've got. So I when I started this video, I wasn't sure whether this was the right thing to do with this palette or not, but it 100% is the right thing. And I'm so, so excited about it because now I just feel like I've got so much colour opportunity in front of me. What else did I want to say before I mix my colours? The yellow ochre, that just feels like it's full up with binder. So I had to like take a little bit out of my pan because it was just so watery, and put a little bit more in. But once I squeezed it out enough, it was fine. And then the final thing is I've got a little tip for you, and it's a tip that I learned from an artist called Ayla Ganuza, I think her name is. She's an oil painter, and if you haven't seen her work, go and check it out. She's amazing. She uses the most wonderful colours, and I've learned the most about colour theory and everything from her than I have from anywhere. I just feel like I got a Domestica course of hers, and it's in Spanish, but it had subtitles, and I think just reading the subtitles as well as then watching her mix all her colours and stuff, it just learned me loads about like everything to do with colour theory. It was such a great course. So I will link her Instagram down in the description so you can check her out. But in one of her videos, she taught this invaluable tip that I never knew and I was struggling with. And then when I learned the tip, it sort of made everything better. So when you use your tubes and you squeeze them out, right, and you get this bit coming out at the end left there, instead of just putting your cap straight back on, I don't think it matters as much with gouache as it does with oil paints, because oils get so messy, don't they? But all you got to do is, what happens is that just squidges the paint all over your cap. It can be really, really messy, and it can like dry all around the edge and make it hard for you to open your cap. So to stop that from happening, you just squeeze these edges here of your bottle. Do you see that? It goes straight back in. This might sound like a really silly tip, but I did not know it, and when I learned it, it was like life-changing because my caps are mostly so clean now. Sometimes it doesn't work depending on like the shape of the bottle, but for most of them it does work, so that's really cool. So the first colour that I want to mix here is the dark green. So you can tell how much I love this green colour and how much I just love green in general, because green is the only one where I've used a massive pan and the white, but that's it. So green gets the favourite award. So what did I use again to make that? I used a touch of green. I mostly use sepia. I think I'll sit down. I'm standing up at the moment. So I'm going to edit this video tomorrow, which will be Saturday, and I'm going to try and get it out for Sunday. What I'll do is I'll leave this to dry overnight, and I don't think it'll be totally dry by tomorrow, but I will just put a little clip in at the end to show you how it's dried over like the course of near enough 24 hours or so. But I might, in my next video next week, I'll bring this in again and show you how it looks once it's all dried out. Even though next video might not be nothing to do with gouache. I'm not exactly sure yet what next week will be. I have to make videos where I have the energy for what I'm doing, kind of like my art. So like I was supposed to make the Jackson soft pastel video this week, and then all of a sudden all I want to do is gouache, and I'm not actually that interested in the soft pastels at the moment. So like this is the video that I wanted to make this week. I wasn't interested in making the soft pastel video, so I changed everything up. I'm very much the same with my art. If you watched my big art tour that I did, of all the art that I did in 2024, you will see that I have to make art that like I can't stick to one thing and I can't stick to one medium either. I'm so all over the place. So I'm going to give this a bit of a mix. I've definitely put too much brown in here. I feel like it's just ate the green. Oh, finger in the paint. I could have took this out really. That probably would have been the best thing to do. Something else I want to make a video of soon is I want to make my own acrylic markers using acrylic ink because I've got some empty markers, so I'd like to make some nice colours of them as well. I might have done this a bit wrong, you know. Oh, it looks like a delicious, this looks delicious, like pistachio ice cream. This is actually a little touch too brown, I think. So how can I make it a little not so brown? Maybe I'll get a different toothpick and pick up a little touch of ultramarine and stick that in there and see what happens. Why doesn't it look as good as my other one? Did I not use the same? I think I might have used too much. We're getting somewhere. A little bit more ultramarine. I didn't even use the ultramarine in the other mix, but I feel like this one needs it. It's experimenting, right? So at the moment this looks more brown than green. I'm just using the green straight out of there, so keep opening the tube. I think this should be it now, surely. I can always make another one. I have spare pans, remember? I think I'll be happy with this. Oh, it's so different to what I originally made before. I don't know why. I just swatched it, look. This is the new one. This is the other one. So I don't know what I've done here. I think it needs way more green. I haven't got that much more space. Is that... Oh, I know why. Oh my god. What an idiot. Because I used this. Permanent green middle. Oh look, see, that's an instance of where I didn't do that trick and it's just splurted everywhere all out the top of the cap. Here we go. This is going to fix things. This could just turn into like total mud now. Oops. I was thinking, why is this like brown and not green? I've nearly overfilled the pan now as well. Don't be like me, guys. Make notes. I think this will be better. It's not, it's like in between both now. It's like a nice dark olive green, brown, mud. Okay, let's have a look what this one looks like. Oh, better. Way, way better. Look at that. I actually like that better than I like that. So, see, this is also the process, isn't it? Don't get panicked when things are not looking your way. Must enjoy the process. Okay, so let's hope the next colour that I want to do goes better. Or goes right the first time, should we say. Because that did go good. I like that colour. Oh, I'm making such a mess now. Okay. The next colour I'm making is a nice easy one actually. So we've got the primary yellow and also primary red, right? Is that what I used? Why didn't I make notes? Now I could have put these ones up the top here where like obviously the orange should go. It's probably about here, but I kind of wanted to keep all my own mixed colours down here on their own, so I feel like if I explain it to people, it would be easier to show everybody them all down here. Not that it really matters. And I've put the green there, I guess. So yeah, this one is like, it feels so thick in the tube. So this one was on its way out, I think. Is this what I used? Yeah. I'm gonna probably want more. Cool, red is so strong. I was watching a video the other day from an artist that I'm absolutely loving at the moment. Her name is Christina Holtkrantz. She's in Sweden. I don't know how to say her second name, sorry. I'll also link her down in the description. But I'm sure she said that she put some gouache out that she had for a really long time and it absolutely stunk. This doesn't really smell, but I thought that was interesting. She said she had it for a long time and it really smelled bad. I'm just going to put a tiny touch more red in there, and then I'm going to put quite a bit more yellow in if I've got enough space. It's very important to use your art supplies, which is rich coming from me, because I've got loads of art supplies that I don't necessarily use often, although I do want to change that this year by challenging myself to use my art supplies that I don't use often. Kind of like my gouache, I guess. So I'm doing it right now. I only use 6 colours usually. Yeah, it's just good, isn't it, to use your art supplies, otherwise they go off. Some of them anyways. Especially watercolour paper. I've had recently, I bought some watercolour paper from Art a few years ago. This is a perfect orange. It's like a burnt orange almost. Yeah, from Art, and it was like a great big lovely pad of watercolour paper and it was really good. And then I went to use it this year, so I bought it like must have been 9 years ago, and 9 years, bloody hell. It went all funny, like it wouldn't accept the watercolor properly. It made the colors look all muted and not very nice, and it was horrible. So I used it for a bit for collage, but it just wasn't very good. Just like it's like it just went off, which is weird. Okay, so next one is I'll make the coral pink color next. Now, how did I make that? Oh dear. Perhaps. Oh no, I used amber. He's so ridiculous. I used this red. Oh, I used plenty of white. That's right. Should have put the white in first, maybe. And then I can adjust accordingly. Whoops. Oh no. Gonna zoom in. Look at this. Looks like raspberry ripple. I keep comparing these colours to ice creams. So I've got my pencil here for reference. So at the moment it looks quite similar to this one, a little bit darker. So I will put a bit of yellow in. I'll get a touch of this cool yellow perhaps. A little bit more. We could be going to orange territory quickly. Oh, look at that for a match. pretty good, yeah. Should I put any more white in there, do you think? Oh, give me the answers, people. No, I'm going to keep it a little bit darker because that's light, and it would be nice to have one a little bit darker. When all this is dry, I might have a little move around. Maybe not. I'm just like brain vomiting all of my thoughts to you at the moment. I hope you don't mind. I feel like this is what this entire video has been. But if you're sat creating some art with me today, then yeah, hope you're enjoying yourself. So do you know what? I will fill all this up. Oh yes, I'm so happy. I will actually fill it all up. So I want to do a purple, and I want to do... Now I wish I would have done this one in a big pan. So I've got the dark purple colour that I want to make, and then I've got the light green colour that I want to make, which I've totally forgot about, so I will have enough to fill it up. Do I want to do... What shall I do in the big pan? The mint green? Now, if I would have thought about this, I would have probably put a blue in a big pan or something like that, or this. Oh, I don't know. Do I even want to make a purple? I'm going to make the light green anyways, and I won't lie, I also can't remember how I made that. What is wrong with me? Okay, so I think I definitely did plenty of white. Where's my white gone? Do I want to do a pre-mixed purple? Do I want to do... I don't know if I'll use purple enough anymore. As much as I love it, I don't know whether... If I would have thought about it a bit better, maybe I would have put the green, that dark green, in the big pan. Maybe. Oh, I got the absolute perfect green colour that I wanted, and I can't remember what I used for it. Same old story, Amber. Some yellow. I don't think I did use yellow. Maybe I used green. This green. Do you know what? We're just going to mix it and go. How did I get it first time last time? You know, I could just go back and have a look at my footage, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so this is a little bit different, I think. Is it? This one is slightly darker, so not far off. I might put a little bit more. Put a touch more of this in here and see if we can get it just a little bit darker. These three colours together, they look amazing. Okay, I'm happy with this colour, but there's not quite enough of it in the pan. So I'd say it's not too far off. Just like I said earlier, actually, my one's a little bit more vibrant than this Luminance pencil, but that's okay. Quite happy with that. I'm going to leave it as is. I think that's nice. Do I want to make a nice purple colour, guys? Or do you want this video to end? I'm going to do it. And then if I don't use it, I don't use it, I guess. So these two colours are what makes the most amazing purple ever. I guess it will just be nice to have it, you know, have a purple pre-mix just in case. Seems I've got every other colour here. I know you want more of the magenta than you do the blue, because the blue is so strong, and I think I might have put too much of blue in, but or maybe I put too much magenta. Nope, the blue's coming through. Yeah, I am glad that I did this. Right, let's have a little test. Zoom back out again. Put it here and see whether we need a little bit more magenta, because I think we might. Oh, look at that for a purple. That is amazing. I can't believe how vibrant you can get that. So I think a touch more magenta to make it a little bit more magenta-y, I guess. Where's my... There's it. There it is. How much? This much? This is fun. I want a paint mix. I want to do more of this and make loads of different colours. So I could have gone out today and bought an orange, but no, I've mixed my very favourite kind of orange, actually. Okay, I think that'll do. Oh, I'm really happy with this palette. I can't wait to start using it, but I'm going to let it dry first, because otherwise I'm going to make a great big mess. So yeah, there it is. My lovely Art Toolkit Dried Gouache Palette, which is still wet at the moment, obviously. I don't know, Amber. I don't know. Okay, so I should probably go now. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I feel like I don't know if you will or not, but if you did, let me know in the comments. I always appreciate your comments, and I always look forward to chatting with you down there. So thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll show this palette in the next video after like a week's worth of drying. I'll probably will have used it a few times then, but yeah, I'll still show you it anyways, and maybe I'll do the Holbein watercolors next week, the luminous watercolors. Maybe I'll do the Jackson soft pastels, or maybe I'll do something totally different. Maybe I'll do an art process. Why don't you let me know? Because when this video comes out, hopefully on Sunday, I haven't recorded the next video yet, so you let me know in the comments what you would like to see. If I do the Holbein watercolour, the luminous watercolours, I'm going to try and use all 12 watercolours in one painting, and I've got a good idea for that. So yeah, let me know. And that's it, I guess. I shall see you next week, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye! Oh. Hey, so just quickly, I thought I would show you what the palette looks like after about 24 hours of leaving it to dry. So most of the colours are pretty much dry now, I'd say. Some of them are still a little bit like tacky, but we do have a lot of cracking. So see if we can zoom in. I hope you can hear me okay, because I'm actually stood up a little bit away from my mic, but yeah, we've got a little bit of cracking in most of them actually. A couple without, so like this one hasn't really cracked, this one hasn't really cracked. The one that's cracked the most and could be a little bit problematic is that primary red. You know, the one that I said was all like bitty, so already when I put that in the pan, that was quite a dry paint anyways. My orange that I made is cracked, my purple, but they're not cracked so much that they're going to fall out the pan. I can feel that the paint is still stuck. So the only one that isn't like that is the primary red. That's a little bit loose in there. But what I did notice was when you close the pan, it's so tight and compact that the colours are not actually going to go anywhere. So let's give it a go, shall we? Let's have a look now, because I'll give it a little shake. A little bit hard to open. It's got like a knack to it, I think. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, so it's not really moved at all, to be honest. That red, it is loose, but I'm thinking if I put a few drops of water in there, it should be good. I'm not worried about it at all. So it'll probably crack more as it dries a little bit more, but I'm thinking if I start playing with this and using some water, then hopefully it'll all just sort of stick it all together and be okay. The only other thing I noticed is some colours shrunk a bit. So like them ones that I mixed myself, that green one especially, but I think I did say that when I mixed it that I didn't put enough in, and so there's not actually much in there at all. So I'll just use them and then I can refill afterwards. But yeah, there it is. One last thing I'd like to show you quickly before I wrap up this video, even though I've already said goodbye once, is I wanted to show you what I did with the colours that I had left on this palette. So I did another prompt from Katie Moody's 30 Days of Sketchbook Joy challenge, and the prompt was houseplant, and I painted one of my little succulents in a little cute pencil pot. So I used these colours that I had left over, and I've still got quite a bit left over, so I'm going to use these for the next one as well. And yeah, just thought I'd show you that quick. I used some coloured pencils on top of that, and that's that. Okay, I'll say bye now. Bye again now then, guys. See you later.